Hey there guys, my name is Blake, also known as the Nerd, and if you're wondering why my tone's a little bit different for this episode of Animal Crossing New Horizons, which we won't be doing too much except going over some new villagers I got, is simply because at the state where I'm right now, it's kind of unfortunate I can't do live narration unless it's a really quiet tone, and I'm still in this tone because the house is really small I'm in right now, and even the slightest loud noise might trigger some interruptions, which I am not a big fan of. So that's the reason why. But anyways, last time we were here, it was the International Museum Day, which is still going on. So in case you haven't done so, you can still go over to the museum, do the Museum Day. Again, you have until the 31st to do so, and you'll be able to get the plaques that I showed off, both in the thumbnail and in the video itself. Other than that, nothing really new. So what I'm going to show off this episode is some of the new villagers that I got. And I did have to do a little bit of time traveling. I know a lot of people are not fans of time traveling, so I apologize to those who do not like the aspect of time traveling. But one of the villagers I got during this was Pashmina, who is actually a goat. Now, I never had a goat villager in any of my Animal Crossing games before, so it was kind of a unique opportunity to try to see how a goat villager works. And it is a sisterly one, and oh my gosh, let me tell you, I am actually in love with her room. Just everything red just blends in so well. Even the jukebox just blends in. She's got a nice couch. I'm actually jealous that she has that color couch. But if I were to have a couch like that, it'd be black. And I almost said Pashmina has a really nice design. Not just those eyes that are kind of freaky when she does expressions like that. And I didn't even notice until I had my television completely unmuted. The music that plays in her house is actually KK Disco, and that's actually so awesome because that's actually one of my favorite KK tracks in all of Animal Crossing. So that's actually really cool. Again, everything about her house is awesome, and I normally don't go for villagers based on like tier rankings, but I actually did take a look at tier rankings while I had her at the campsite, and I found out that she's decently popular. Like, she's not the most popular villager, but she has some followers to the point where I think she's like mid-tier in some Animal Crossing tiers. Like, again, I don't judge based on tiers, but that is a thing that can happen apparently. Now, moving on to the second house over here, this is originally where Patty was, and Pashmina was where Celia was. I'm going to explain that a little bit later. Second one is a really popular new villager, exclusively to New Horizons, I guess in a mobile game. This is Audie. This is actually one I wanted for quite a while, and I'll explain the process a little later, but just look at this house. It is so gorgeous. Like the beach scenery with the beach music, you got the palm trees, we got the we're open sign. So much about this is so beautiful. I would not want to give her anything to replace anything in her house. Obviously she was crafting, but I did actually make another video, but unfortunately because the file was so long and I was trying to figure out some new things to do with Streamlabs OBS, I wasn't able to get everything the way I wanted to, so unfortunately I was kind of stuck with what I had, which was a long 29 gigabyte video, but eventually did cut it down. And also alongside Audie's house, Audie herself looks so gorgeous. Like, I love the color of her fur, I love the fact that she has sunglasses. Everything about her is just so wonderful, and that was my most desired villager, like new villager in New Horizons. Obviously, I had Fauna in the beginning because I used the amiibo card, but Audie was just another one of those that I wanted. And here is the story that's kind of tied in with why Audie is actually on the island alongside just me wanting her on the island because of her looks and everything. Now that I look at the house, is a much better reason to have her as well. But I was on Nookazon, and I had the intention of kicking out Patty because even though Patty did have some really good memories here on the island, she wasn't my intentional, I almost said jock, peppy villager that I wanted. And as much as this sounds very, very judgmental, Patty's looks, it's just simplistic, it's just plain, nothing really special. She's a good villager, she's sweet and whatnot, and she's one of the rare villagers to get species-wise because cows are technically not that easy to get. But in my mind, I always wanted Audie as not only the peppy villager, but the new Animal Crossing villager, because that's always been tradition for me with Animal Crossing since New Leaf, was to have at least one new animal from that said game. That's why Fauna is there. And when I had that in mind of Audie coming to my town to permanently stay because I want her to be a permanent resident, I decided to take actions, of course, involving time traveling, which I apologize if you're against time traveling, as just something I wanted to do, or something I had to do in order to get her pretty quickly. So the first thing I did was try to make sure Patty was in the thought process of wanting to move out, and when she did say yes, I decided to time skip a little bit more until she was fully moved out, and then I went over to Nookazon and actually started looking at the villagers for sale sort of thing. Now, basing it on tier list in terms of prices, Audie and, to my surprise, Fauna, even though I used the amiibo card for her, are, because they're extremely popular, they go for higher prices on Nookazon. If this was friends, obviously, they could either give it to you for free if they're not really interested in it, or if they want at least a little bit bells, they can offer you like a little bit lower if they're friends, or if they're really someone that doesn't really want it. But this is Nookazon we're talking about. It's kind of like a eBay or like shopping business, so of course you gotta go with the prices. And the range of these villagers are actually between 10 million to 20 million bells, or like 1,000 Nook Mouse tickets. It is crazy amount of price for that thing, but I think it's kind of worth it in the long run. So once I again kicked Patty out, I decided to contact a few people to see if Audie were available. One of them was selling for 300,000, but to no one's surprise, that came out pretty quickly because it's kind of a good deal. The second one I talked to that had Audie in boxes was not very nice to say the least. I did offer 10,000 and not 10,000, 10 million bells, just like what a lot of people, or like a lot of selects suggest, like 10 to 20 million is like the most. And this person was not having it, and I was like, are you sure? Because I'm actually giving you what the price suggests. And I kid you not, the person said, you know, turnips are a thing. Why don't you go sell some turnips and then come back to me, loser? Okay, well, not using loser, but kind of being an asshole at the same time. So that person got blocked, and I never spoke to her ever again. But there was this third person. She is super nice. I'll get into that later. But when she posted it, I was the very first one, and I said 5 million. I asked if I could get her for 5 million, and failing to realize that might not have been the best price, I automatically changed it to double it to 10 million. And to my surprise, she was actually shocked by the price. Again, I did research, and people pay a lot of prices, including 10 million, which is why I have 2 million. I still have 2 million so I can get a regal crown at some point. That's like the only thing I really want. But she was super nice. I was able to get Audie because of her. We actually had conversations about how people go crazy buying these villagers, even to the point where they're using real money. And she was just starting developing her island, and I asked why she wanted to get rid of Audie so badly. And she's all like, I don't really like her as much as many people do, which is kind of crazy because her house is fantastic. I love her design. So really, to hear someone say that is kind of shocking. But she was super nice. And if you see that person, I don't know if I can put the thing on the screen or whatnot, but if you do find her, I recommend purchasing anything from her you find on Nookazon. Obviously, I'm not Nookazon anymore because it's the last thing I wanted to do on there. So that was pretty much it. And speaking of, that's pretty much all I wanted to do for this video. I didn't realize I recorded it so short. So if you're going on Nookazon, make sure you stay safe out there. And thank you guys for watching. I wouldn't recommend spending a whole bunch of bells for a villager unless you really want them, in which case go ahead. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. With live narration, hopefully. Until we meet again, do remember to take care.